forefront of innovation.
A remote guest, which we do frequently because in this world of AI, they could be just anywhere. And this gentleman has been very busy, kind of hopping around the globe a little bit, spreading the good word about AI. And as always, we thank Community News for allowing us this platform to get the word out about AI. AI is not the future, AI is the present. So today we have Pedro Santos Acosta from Miami Dade College. He is the Executive Director of Emerging Technologies. Pedro, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you for the invitation. Looking forward to today's conversation. As to your point early, AI is no longer the future, it's the present, and we have to make sure that everyone gets that point without having fears to use AI or to adopt AI in any of the roles that they play in their life. It can be for the personal use, for the professional use. So I'm looking forward to today's conversation, Carlos. Thank you again for the invitation.
Of course, Pedro. And I wanted to start with what you do as the Executive Director of Emerging Technologies at Miami Dade College. What does your role entail there?
So thank you, Carlos, for the question. So as you mentioned, at Miami Dade College, we are leading the way when it comes to the adoption of AI. And my role is to make sure that we are connected to the industries and companies that are leading that way. So in my role, I have a strong relationship and close relationship to the IBMs of the world, the OpenAI of the world, the Microsoft, the Google, Intel, you name it. So those companies, Microsoft, so within my role, I establish their connection with them. Plus, I make sure that we use the content that they're releasing, the latest content that they put forward for education, and make sure that we have prime access to those resources. So I then can come back to our communities and spread out those resources for our community for them to use. So not just for Miami-Dade College students, which is the main focus of our role, but also to support our community at large to make sure that they know where to get those resources, how to access those resources, how to benefit of those certificates, how to benefit of having that interaction, because we want to make sure that everyone has access to those resources. Plus, I make sure that our faculties are trained in the use of AI. Our faculties are up to date with all the resources that are available, plus how we embed AI into our internal processes, internal frameworks. So AI right now is dominating the field. Plus, in addition to that, as an emerging technologies says, I'm also watching for what is not the newest, but what is the most powerful technology that can be of impact of our community. So now, just to give you an idea, Carlos, we are heavily investing in resources and research in quantum, based on the future of how we see the future of quantum. But at the same time, we are investing time and resources in cybersecurity, in cloud computing, in data analytics, because those are topics that it's not just AI. AI depends on those. So we want to make sure that we not just provide one set of tools in a vertical area. We wanted to have a horizontal that encompasses all those technologies. So everyone that wants to take it and wants to apply it, we have created that capacity for anyone to jump into those topics right away.
Interesting. You said a lot, and I have a lot of questions based off what you said. And first of all, you talk about your speaking with and engaging all of these, household name corporations, Intels of the world, the Microsofts of the world, et cetera. And it's very clear what your constituents, your students, faculty, et cetera, get out of that. What do these companies expect to get out of a relationship with you and Miami Dade College?
So the most important, and you'll be surprised when you engage with these companies, and in their core, what they wanted to have is citizens that are educating the use of technology as a whole. And most of the time, which is probably surprising for some, they don't want just to train in their technologies. They want to train people in technology general, as a concept. Why? Because they see and they are putting forward those some of the time and often is for free for our community. So we are establishing a connection in where we get access to Google certifications, IBM certifications, Microsoft certifications, free of charge, because they want to make sure that everyone, not just few, that everyone has access to the content and to the platforms and to the frameworks and every technology that they're putting forward. They want to make sure that is available for everyone. So in the core, and that's something that I've seen across those companies, they really want to invest. They want to make sure that, again, everyone has access, and they have access not just to the content, but access to labs, access to computing, access to possible internships through those connections. So they are investing heavily in making sure that everyone can benefit of the development that they are creating.
Excellent. You mentioned that not only is AI now very pertinent to students and your curriculum. I understand that Miami Dade College, I think, was the first college in Florida to introduce AI as a major. You can get a degree in it, in other words. Then you mentioned faculty as well. And I've been to Miami Dade on several visits, and I've run into professors that have been there for 20, 30 years. How has that been? How has the transition from the analog world, we'll call it, to AI been for these professors as a whole? Do you see some resistance? Is there acceptance? What have you observed?
So we started this conversation, Carlos, to your question. We started this conversation early in 2021. Not even when ChatGPT came out to be a thing. We started through the direction and leadership of the college president, Marilyn Pumariega. She wanted for us to invest in AI. So early in 2021, we went out to partner with different institutions, with different companies, and to find the right partner to start training our faculties. So in mind that in 2021, we trained 500 faculties from Miami Dade College. So we set the stage and we identified who were the champions, the early adopters, and of course we have those that didn't see at the time that this was needed for them to adopt it in the curriculum, in the professional life. So we had those laggers that we knew that at some point they were coming back to us with questions and they were going to adapt the technology, and that was the expectation. Then 2022 came out, November 2022, everyone knows what happened, and AI became a thing. AI was front and center, and since that, it has grown exponentially, and every month is three different tools. Every month we have new developments. So we already have created in 2021 a base of training for faculties, plus we have continuing improving that training, that curriculum. We have identified the champions, and for those that were the naysayers, we said, okay, let's now focus not just in how AI is going to impact you, but how AI is going to impact the students that you are forming, the students that you are teaching, because our outcome are the students. So if we don't do everything that we do because of the students that we serve, we are not doing our job. So the moment that they see that those same students, if they are not ready to get a position or to get a job that require some AI knowledge, they born into that process, and they embark also into the way of using AI, adopting AI. And we are not saying to those faculties that are teaching philosophy that it has to be just AI. No, 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 no. The so-called soft skills are really important as well. But we want to make sure is that every student that comes through Miami Dade College, they learn how to use AI in the ethical way, in the responsible way, and it doesn't have to be just a student from computer science. We're talking about computing from all over the spectrum. We have students that are taking music courses, students that are taking business classes. They have access to those AI courses because, as you said, we were the first college in the state of Florida to launch the first college credit certificate, associates in applied AI, and bachelors in applied AI, in where we are not limiting anyone to be enrolled in those courses. Why? Because we don't want for anyone to think that AI just belongs to the computer science students. No, AI belongs to every student that is interested in to adopt and use the technology for the future of their careers. So that's the way that we are doing, and we are again embedding the faculties in the new development, sending faculties to conferences to present and to showcase how AI is improving those tools and those resources that they've been using, and how they can better teach using the technology that is at their hands.
You mentioned that you are the university is very adamant about AI seeping through really to all forms of study, really all paths of study. And it's interesting because recently I've seen on the news some commencement ceremonies where during graduation, the speaker mentioned something about AI and all the students boo. It's a very poor reception from the students. What has been your experience at Miami Dade College? And is this something that kind of does away from that? Because the feeling I get is that kids coming out of college are very much intimidated by AI.
So, to your question, Carlos, I had the same sentiment that you had when somebody shared those videos with me recently, because it was commencement now in spring, and I was intrigued around what is the work that those schools or institutions are doing around AI, because apparently they're doing so little that nobody is paying attention, or nobody is adopting the way that it should be in their institutions, and especially the outcomes that has to be shared with those students. And I'm going to go not to say numbers because of me wanted to say numbers, but I wanted to give you a perspective of how important it is for us to tackle the AI gap when it comes to students, and when it comes to students that are graduating from college. So in 2022, we did an analysis of the market placement in Miami and how many positions were available that required AI. So we used one of the leader marketplace systems, and we found that in 2022, close to 100 positions, just 100 positions, required some type of AI training.
And this was in 2022?
2022.
Okay.
2023, we were talking about 2,000 positions require some type of training. In 2024, more than 10,000 positions require AI, some type of AI knowledge. Now in 2025 has doubled, and today every position requires AI training at all levels. So what happened is, for those students they don't see it, they won't get hired as they should, because the competition is going to have. If you and I, we are applying for the same position, and you and I, we are looking for talent for any position. If we have the best two candidates to the finals, and they have the same degrees, they have the same academic rigor, they have everything is pretty similar. When we go to the AI questions and how they're thinking around AI, most likely, at least I'm going to speak from me, I'm going to get the student that is more engaged and knows how to use AI than the other student. Why? Because we need to have that new mindset about adopting that technology for the better of us, for the better of our company, for the better of the pros. Because Carlos, I haven't mentioned, but I feel that I have superpowers every moment that I use AI. Why? Because it's saving me time, it's saving me resources, it's helping me to adopt and to use new things. So in mind, those students that are those keynote speakers, I don't know what they're gonna do, because it's one thing is to have fears around technology, but another thing is what is the reality in the job place? What is the reality in the marketplace? Because the reality is saying something that is totally different to what they are thinking is going to happen. So, in my opinion, how we are tackling that, as I said, embedding AI in the classes, helping and supporting everyone that wants to learn more around AI, bringing the experts to the college to have conversations around AI. We have hosted all those partners that I mentioned to you, Carlos, before. We had huge events with each of them. So we had within the last year, we hosted Google back in October. We hosted OpenAI back in November. We hosted Intel back in February. We hosted IBM recently in May. We hosted Microsoft in February. So what is that I'm doing? I'm creating opportunities for people to talk to them without me being in the middle. I'm the host. We are creating, and I had the pleasure to meet you at the inauguration of the new AI center at the Kendall campus. We are creating centers. We are creating spaces for people that feel that the ones that feel threatened by this technology. We are opening the spaces for them to come and to be part of this, to learn, to ask the questions, not to be afraid, not to get away. On the contrary, we want for them to be part of this movement and for them to see that what are the benefits, what are the pros, what are the cons, and to educate themselves before even taking a decision in around, is AI a good thing or a bad thing, if we wanted to go to talk about simple terms. But beyond that, we are creating those opportunities for everyone, not limiting just Miami-Dade College students, because as you know, we have trained just in the last year more than 10,000 employees from Miami-Dade County. From the county alone, more than 9,000. And then from businesses, small businesses, medium size, from banks, from supply chain companies, we have trained also those, because we want to make sure that if we want to have a Miami that is relevant for the AI economy that is happening, we need to educate everyone within the AI world. So by the moment that those companies that are you and I, that they are coming to Miami, they don't need to bring the talent. The talent is already embedded in our community.
Yeah, and thanks a lot to Miami Dade College. I know there was an article in Forbes recently about how community colleges are really taking the lead in developing AI talent. And so what I heard from you, Pedro, is that to be hired out of college in Miami, you have to be trilingual now. You have to speak English, Spanish, and AI, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
100%. There is no questions about it.
And it was very interesting what you mentioned about kind of you getting out of the way between students and these big corporations, and you bring them in, I guess. And one of the things that I feel, at least when I went to college more than a minute ago, was that you don't get a dose of reality. You get a lot of theory, and then you go out into the workforce and things are different. And correct me if I'm wrong, bringing the companies in, they get some real world perspective on what to expect. Is that what's happening?
That's precisely, Carlos, to your point. That's precisely what we're doing. We are doing applied AI and applied in every program that we have, specifically in AI. The reason why we want to bring these companies, first, to let the students know that these companies are run by people like you and I. Second, for them to know that those people are connected and they are willing to invest in Miami. And third, and most importantly, is to do technical workshops within those visits, because we don't want to have just a company coming to Miami just because they want. No. We have to do a technical workshop when we are going to be demonstrating what that company is doing for small businesses. Let's do a workshop to demonstrate how those companies are helping the enterprise. Let's do technical workshop in how those companies are creating the new and the future of technology using AI. And then when you see a room full of people on a Saturday morning because they wanted to learn, because OpenAI is presenting, or they wanted to learn how Intel is leading at night, we are creating those spaces because we know that the more that our community learn and the more that they see that this is happening and how it's happening is when the impact is going to be bigger and the impact is going to be better for our community, because it's not just the theory around AI. I go to no. The theory goes hand in hand with the practicality of using AI and how it can be used and how you can deploy this tool. And one of the main points of having these events in person is for them to get out of these events access to those tools, resources to apply AI immediately, not to wait another year for that technology to be released. No, if these companies are coming to Miami, they usually what we do is we deliver that same day to the students access to those resources that were exposed within those presentations. So it's a combination of ethical use of AI, theory on AI, but 80% is practical use of those tools presented by those companies that are well known around the world in Miami Dade College.
Let's talk a little bit about your certifications. And as a matter of fact, I know somebody who was with one of the very recent cohorts, and she couldn't say enough about it. And it was interesting because I put out a lot of content, and some of it is related to AI and marketing, et cetera. And she said, well, now I understand, your videos and where you're coming from. But tell us a little bit about that certification, how people can learn more about AI, be it just a stay-at-home mom or a business person.
No, thank you, Carlos. So the certification, we created a certification out of the launch of the degrees. So we launched the degrees, and we had had more than 3,000 students taking classes at the degree level. But wow. we noticed that we have the moms at house, we have the retired professionals that are just maybe playing golf or maybe just staying in their houses. And we have also students that are taking classes in the high school system, or the students that are taking classes in all institutions in Miami, that they were lacking of a space to learn around AI in a practical and in a short time framework. So what we created the AI clinics, which are 4 sessions of 3 hours each, that we do it on Saturdays, we do it on the weekends, or we do it on the weekdays in the evening. So with those, we have created courses that are technical, in where the people that participate in those courses are going to learn around tools that uses AI to better do their jobs. And we showcase and highlight how they can benefit of using those tools in the way that they know, because we trust that they already have a knowledge that they possess, and we wanted to showcase to them new tools for them to improve whatever they do. Just to give you an idea, Carlos, last year we hosted around 16 clinics throughout the year with more than 400 participants. This year alone, Carlos, we had more than 25 already, which is increasing, and every other week we start a new one. We usually, as I said, we host those on Saturdays, on the weekends, and in the evenings. So we have the next ones coming up next week. On Saturdays we are going to have, because we have created an evolution, we have divided in phases. So we have a phase 1, which is the intro to AI, and in where you get access to different resources. As I said, that lasts for 4 sessions, 3 hours each of the sessions. They are linked to a Google Professional Certificate as well, so they have access to an online resource to supplement the content that you're getting in the classroom with the faculty from Miami Dade. And next week, we are launching the phase 2, which is a clinic dedicated to Claude and how they can use Claude to the maximum use possible. Like, we are going to be going a deep dive into Cloud Code, Cowork, and the other tools that Claude has been releasing for the last 2 years. So we are going to have that course coming up on the 20th of June, and we see the interest. We see people participating. We have sometimes we have a cost for the classes, but sometimes we have scholarships available for people that wanted to attend. I'm going to follow up with you today. I'm going to send you the link for the phone for those that wanted to join the clinics. We have a registration landing page for them to get more information about the clinics. And the most important thing about the clinics are the results. So we have seen people that have launched companies. We have seen people that have wrote books. We have seen people that have changed careers because of the impact of these classes. And more importantly, because they are realizing how easy it is to do a change in their mind if they use the right tool. How easy it is to adopt AI if they create the right mindset. So what we are doing is providing them with those resources for them to make that change, and we are here to support them within that transformation.
Yeah, that's interesting about mindset because, as a matter of fact, at the inauguration of the AI Center, I had a gentleman come up to me and say, "Thank God I'm old because I don't understand any of this AI stuff." And he just didn't want to learn. But be that as it may, I wanted to talk about some of the other work that you are doing outside of the campus, yourself and with students. I know you've been to the Dominican Republic recently, to New York, and to Arizona. What is it that you're doing in these countries and cities?
So, Carlos, thank you for the question as well. And we have, based on the results that we are getting and we are obtaining throughout the courses, throughout the trainings, we have been approached by these companies, the same very big companies that are working with us, and they are recommending us to support other institutions, other organizations, not just in the US, but across, to your point, across the globe. So I just came recently to visit and a training that we had for 4 weeks at one of the biggest institutions in technical institutions in Dominican Republic, which is InTech. So we sent faculties in person to do a training for 4 weeks, a training to the faculty body of InTech, and a training to the business community in Santo Domingo, which was amazing. Imagine, Carlos, that we went, as I said, 4 weeks. The moment that we landed back to Miami, the same institution called us and said, "Pedro, we wanted to expand this. We wanted to do the same approach coming in June, and coming in July, and coming in August." So that's one thing. We are getting the same calls now from Puerto Rico. So we are going to Puerto Rico hopefully soon. We are planning to go in August because they wanted to also hire Miami Dade College to support their initiative when it comes to AI. So we are going to be training faculties, we are going to be training students, we are going to be training business communities in those areas for them to start adopting and start using AI in the proper way. And when it comes to the US, something that I haven't mentioned yet. So Miami Dade College, based on our role and our leadership, we are one of the lead institutions for the National Applied AI Consortium for community colleges. So we have more than 3,000 faculties and administrators from all over the United States that are receiving training, that are receiving knowledge through a consortium that Miami Dade College is leading. And through that consortium, we are receiving a lot of requests to go and train different institutions in the work that we've done. So recently, this week, I visited a college, Western Arizona College in Yuma, Arizona, and we went and we spent a day doing some training to faculty, to administrators. We had a conversation with the business community, just letting them know how AI is doing that transformation, how important it is for them to jump into this train. And the same thing, last week, we were invited to present this work that we are doing, similar to this conversation, at the IBM headquarters in New York City as part of the New York Tech Week. They wanted to have an institution that is leading this, and they invited Miami Dade College. I had the honor to be in a panel with the vice president of social responsibility for IBM and another faculty from NYU. And it was a conversation around the impact of AI in higher education. recently as well, I visited California and I had a conversation with different community colleges in California, and we were doing a presentation around the same topics. Plus, we are getting some businesses out of those interactions because we are providing them training, and that's a way that we are also supporting our community because many of those businesses provide us scholarships for our students to be able to take those courses. So it's it's a busy season for us because we are continue to improve and continue to highlight the work that AI is taking in our life, but also providing support to those people that wanted to do it. Not to mention that we already have in the books an interaction with Panama, with Peru, with Honduras, so even with El Salvador. So we wanted to do more and more.
So tell me about how you're helping businesses. And I know you've got students helping as well, which to me is just great because again, they're getting practical experience.
So Carlos, now let's focus on the students. So once we teach, we also learned that the students they need the practical use of AI. So what we are doing, finding and creating, is a way to connect companies that are looking for talent with the talent that we are forming. So we are creating that matchmaking machine in where we meet with the companies, we support the companies that are looking to create a new process, that are looking to adopt AI. With the 3,000 students that we have taking AI courses, we are doing that matchmaking, and it's working really well. We have had I just had a conversation early this morning. We sent a couple of 4 students to do a project here in Florida, in South Florida, a little bit up north in Boca. And the company that worked with the students, they shared with us that for the last 3 years, they were working with graduates from another institution, and they weren't able to do any results. They weren't able to get anything out of that collaboration. For the past 6 weeks, we sent 4 students from Miami Dade College, and they already completed the work. As a matter of fact, they want to hire full time those 4 students.
Wow.
So it's not just providing internships. What we really the outcome, Carlos, is to make sure that every student that wants to get a full time job, a high paying job in tech in Miami, we are setting them for success. If they wanted to do it, we are creating the connection with the companies, the local companies. We are creating them. We are providing them the resources for them to thrive. So at the end of that marriage is a happy marriage. They get hired, they get paid, and they can stay in Miami.
And how does it work for the company? Do they pay for the student services? Is it a paid internship? Is it a consulting agreement? How does that work?
It's a combination of those, Carlos. It's a
Okay.
combination of those. It depends on the scope of the project. It depends on what are the needs. It depends also in what are the grants that we have available. Sometimes we fully cover that. Sometimes it's fully covered by Miami Dade College. Sometimes it's half and half. Sometimes we have companies that they have the budget to support that engagement. So it's a combination of sort, and we wanted to have a conversation. Definitely, conversation helps with the company to scope what is that they need, and then we guide them through that process. And I wanted to share with you that we are launching a new initiative that we are going to get the best AI students from Miami Dade College. We are going to create a cohort, and we are going to pair those students with local companies that wanted to implement AI, and that are committed to support those students throughout a period of 10 months. So we can have in mind that you can have a student working with your company for 10 months. At the end is an internship, full-time internship for that student to perform some work in your company related to AI. So more to come. We are just launching that new initiative at Miami Dade College. The moment that I have more information, I will share with you so you can share with your network, because this is the way that we support not just the students, but also local companies in Miami that are looking to do the adoption and implementation of AI. They don't know where to start, and we want to make sure that the talent that they need is. We know that the talent is here, but we want to make sure that this company knows that the talent is in the backyard and they can hire that talent right away.
Okay. So it's a marketing problem right now to get the word out, build awareness. And you mentioned something about small business and AI. Where are businesses not getting it right? And where are they getting things right when it comes to AI? Apart from the fact that some don't want to adopt it, but where do you see businesses kind of lost or just getting it wrong?
So I wanted to put my hat of educator, and I think that the most important point right now, Carlos, is getting the businesses educated around AI, getting the teams educated, because sometimes you have a really proficient employee that knows around AI, but the management, the business is not ready to adopt. And most likely you are going to, or that business is going to end up losing that person, because that person is going to find a business that values her or his knowledge around AI. So the first and most important thing is the education around how AI can impact your business, your personal business. I don't want to be general, because I want there is uses for every business, for every industry. So they are they are not seeing the big picture, and they think that this is something that is going to come in 5 years, in 10 years, without knowing that this is happening right now.
Yeah.
They are missing out that initial factor, and the ones that we are seeing right now that are winning are the ones that are adopting AI in different areas. Like, let me bring AI agents, let me do agents, digital agents, digital workers, and they are adopting in the processes for efficiencies AI. How? It depends. It depends on the industry. It depends. But the most important thing is educate yourself, get to know or get to define what is that you need, and we see the ROI in those companies that is higher than those that first they're waiting for something to happen, and something it won't happen if you don't do it. And secondly, the competition is doing. So for any business that is out there listening to this conversation, my recommendation is get yourself educated. It doesn't have to be a Miami-Dade. There are plenty of resources online. You can do whatever you want, but definitely education is key when it comes to how you adopt, how you learn, and how you implement AI in your business. Because I'm telling you that your competition is looking to do the same. So if you don't want to do it just for the sake of not doing it, I'm sorry, because you are going to lose a lot of business in the coming month, because it's happening at a speed that is unheard.
In this whole AI realm, AI is just such a broad topic. And do you know of any, or do you feel there are any areas of AI that are overhyped and then some that people just aren't talking enough about?
Carlos, I think that it depends. It depends. It depends of the angle that you wanted to take. It depends of the angle that the businesses wanted to implement. So just to make sure that everyone knows that AI goes beyond ChatGPT and beyond practicing and asking a browser in give me a training plan, or give me the direction to do a better meal. AI is evolving so fast that people are missing out in creating workflows. People are missing out in creating data workers. Are missing out in finding or creating agents that support anything that you're doing. And why they're missing out? Because AI, which is something that I wanted to highlight, AI will do what we want the AI to do. AI is going to augment our needs and it's going to solve our problems. If we define what is that we want to, what is the outcome that we wanted to get, and then having AI to support us to solve that situation and to get into the outcome, I think that the shift of mindset is what is we are lacking. We're lagging into treat and use AI as the best possible assistant that you can get if you choose to, and
Yeah.
to move away from the ChatGPT mindset of this is just a chat that is helping me with my emails. I have no. This goes beyond. It can do nowadays. It can do almost everything that we want them to do. So I think that the businesses are missing out that part, and they are still in the mindset of this is just another chatbot that is going to respond to me what I want, but it goes beyond that.
Pedro, last question. Where do you see this all going 3, 5 years down the road? Where's AI going?
Carlos, I wish that I can tell you what is
Yeah.
going to happen in 3 years, but I can. I let me do an assumption, and I usually don't take this lightly, but for within this year, what I see that is going to amplify the use of the productivity, is going to amplify the connectivity, is going to amplify the use cases. I don't know if you saw it, but just to highlight the speed, then how the speed is changing the way that we are using AI. Back in November, a person from Norway released a product called OpenClaw. OpenClaw, he has to change the names 3 times.
Hmm.
He already was bought by OpenAI. They bought him completely with more than $100 million for that product. Last week or this week, Microsoft just released the native OpenClaw solution for Windows. So what OpenClaw does is OpenClaw is a connector between all the tools that you use and embed AI and create agents for everything that you wanted to do. And imagine that that happened just 6 months ago. I cannot imagine what is going to happen in the next year alone. Maybe before the end of the year, we are going to have more releases of new technology that is going to continue to improve and increase productivity, performance, workflow. But in order to be ready for that, Carlos, my recommendation and my final recommendation for everyone is to get everyone in the same mindset around education on AI, because this is the perfect example of a lifelong learning in where not because you took a certificate with us or with anyone, you are set to go. On the contrary, this is a constant evolution of learning around AI. What is new? How these tools have evolved? How these new tools are going to support whatever we're doing? And by the way, today is the worst day that you can have an AI, because tomorrow there is going to be a new outcome. There is going to be a new tool, and it's not because it's new. It's because the capability has improved so much that
Yeah.
what I thought was magic in 2022 when ChatGPT was released, today we have probably 1 million more capabilities than the one that in 22 I thought that it was magic. So
Yeah.
imagine what is going to happen in 2027.
Pedro, if somebody wants to learn more about all your programs at Miami Dade College, is there a landing page they can go to, a phone number? What is it?
So we have a landing page through the School of Continuing Education for the AI clinics. My recommendation, Carlos, is to provide our guest for today my office phone
Okay.
and my email address. You can share them with them. My office phone is 305-237-3602. Again, 305-237-3602. And my email address is psantosa@mdc.edu. That would be my the closest or the fastest way to get into my inbox and to get to know more, and then I connect them with the right person on the proper channel at Miami Dade. But definitely, we are looking forward to support your community, to support you, Carlos, and to make sure that we create the Miami that we are dreaming to create, and we create the talent that we need to support our businesses locally here in Miami.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Pedro. And thank all of you for joining An Eye for AI. We will be back soon.